All right, so we back live. Sorry about that, guys. Ustream was a little pissed off, I guess. Anyway, domicile may be deemed to be of three sorts: domicile by birth, domicile by choice, and domicile by operation of law. The first is the common case of the place of birth, domicilium originis. I'm horrible at Latin, as you can see. The second is that which is voluntarily acquired by a party, proprio moto. Well, you heard that before. The last is consequential, pardon me, consequential as that of the wife arising from marriage. And then right below there it says abandonment of domicile. See abandonment. Islam. So we have to make sure that we qualify when we're using these words, how we're using them, what we're using them for, and things of that sort. But I believe there was something. It might have been a point that Brother Nasir, did you have about domicile? Did you want to touch on?
Oh yeah. Further down the line, I was going to touch on that as far as national domicile and life estate, how they correspond with one another. But to answer your question, as far as the third party situation, just really quick. Now dealing with the third party, someone else or a third party cannot have an interest in your estate. All right, because now that will cause a conflict of title. All right, because now the settler who said they have the title or valid claim as to what interest to transfer to the trustee for the beneficiary. All right,
and so what you're saying is that when the third party is involved, like the quote unquote state or whatever, then the rights of that settler become secondary to the auspices of the state.
Not that it becomes secondary, it becomes a conflict of title. All right. Now, if you have a conflict of title, there's no way that you can transfer it
because it's not clear that it's yours to transfer in the first place.
There you go.
All right, just making sure.
All right. Now, the quote unquote state, as they call it. Now we have to be clear. All right, about this, because the states. All right, what's the definition of state? And it's not what you see, all right, when you turn on the television, all right, or when you look at one of their, so-called maps, and you see an outline of, the 50 states and, in the so-called United States of America and, or so-called United States, and you look at that and you'll see, the state of Montana, all right, the state of Pennsylvania, PA, the state of Virginia, VA.
And whenever you see those state ofs, those are really like trading and sales territories.
All right. That's all that there are. All right, being as though that we, the Moroccan Empire or the Al Moroccans, are the first ones to recognize the Europeans. All right, as a nation. All right, as a nation of people that have human rights. And Todd, touched on this, and to stop the 100 Years' wars between the Muslims and Christians.
Because we had Europeans enslaved. Islam? Oh, it's cutting off. Oh, we got somebody coming in.
I can hear you.
Islam. Greetings.
Hello. All right.
Peace, brother. Just for new people that's just checking in, to save the bandwidth, if you could just mute out and cut the video off, and then when we open the floor up, we can turn all that back on. But if you don't know where it is, it should be a little button right below your picture, or it says like video off or mute. And if you can't find it out, I can always hit it on this end. But there we go. So back at it. Yeah, you got it.
We're the first ones to recognize them as a nation, all right? And, Taj again hit on it, how, Obama went over to Kuta and, his wife, triangulated and went to the last stronghold out in Andalusia, what they call Spain now, all right, to pay homage to us.
And when they came out
and signed the rights of indigenous peoples.
Yeah.
All
And they
right,
show them
so
coming through the double
we're the
doors.
first ones to recognize them as a nation. All right, so um, um, I just lost my whole train of thought when the brother came in.
It's all good. So we were talking about the states, and you were saying that there's
yes, in the interest.
in the
Yes,
interest
okay,
when it comes to conflict of
I
title.
got it. Yeah, in the third party interest, and and it validates the trust.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like I said, when you see the state of, they're all corporate sales jurisdictions, and when they came here, it was to do commerce,
Mm-hmm.
all right, or we gave them to the authority to do commerce, and they were supposed to pay their annual they were supposed to pay their annual tributes.
Yeah.
To us.
And then the estates became the states. And they basically dropped the E off, and then
exactly
through the Cessacue by Trust Act and the whole doctrine of discovery, they really ran a number on the people. And if I understand it correctly, didn't the Pope basically claim the entire planet as being under his auspices, and then everybody else was just kind of like his peon?
Yep.
Working for him? All right. And then now in 2014, after the Pope letter he put the Pope letter out with Anna von Rice, and then I believe there were 2 different motu proprios that he actually put out that kind of took the knees from out under the armed forces, the armed mercenaries, in terms of all the abuses and things that were going on. So this thing has come full circle, in terms of the line of history. And we're at a point now, if history and my memory serves me correct, that the hundreds of years of wars and the I guess the Cold War version of things are coming to an end, and we're just now as a society coming out of this slumber that we've been in for however long. And so now the nations of the earth are gathering and trying to make sense of the foolishness they've been carrying on for this for this long.
Right.
So we had to be very clear when we're talking about status, and we're talking about estates, and we're talking about trust, how all of these things and these topics are interrelated, and how that line of history and thinking, from way back then comes up and is still relevant in present day, correct?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of application. So I remember you said you wanted to touch on a little bit later.
Oh yes, the domicile.
The domicile. Yeah, let's jump back to that.
All right. Just real quick. Now, with the states or the corporate foreign jurisdictions, all right. If Moors that are domiciled near these particular jurisdictions, they have what you call for their state, their quote unquote legislative, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Their legislatures.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, when they say that they're legislatures, that doesn't mean that they're creating any type of law. They're creating statutes, rules, and regulations,
and corporate policies.
Exactly for that particular corporation. All right. And what they call it is a general assembly. All right. Now, with that general assembly, again, they write all the corporate policies that do not apply to you. All right. And they do not regulate trusts. All right. What they have is the Uniform Trust Code. All right. And what that Uniform Trust Code is, if you go onto to the website, they'll plainly tell you that it's not law. All right.
Because it's a code.
What it is it's trust law with their own added mixtures of things to benefit their interests.
So it's colorable.
Right? Exactly.
In nature.
All right. Or certain sections of it is colored, but they'll let you know. All right. But the thing is,
and then don't they typically revert when they talk about that it's not regulated? Doesn't that typically mean that the local sales corporate jurisdiction, i.e. the quote unquote state or the county, would be the ones to regulate or come up with legislation? So like if you were say near the corporate state of Pennsylvania, it would be the state of Pennsylvania's legislatures that would come up with the trust law for, the state of Pennsylvania.
Yes, in order,
for
taxing purposes.
For taxing purposes, because
so they can get their hand in your pockets. That's
so when the federal government, from a federal level, is talking, because I think they had Betsy DeVos up there on the Capitol Hill, and they were talking about the estate tax. Does that have anything to do with this type? When we're talking about trust in a state.
Right. Now, same instance. Who are these people? We're gonna go back to that title. All right. Now, that's why I wanted. Matter of fact, keep reading. Can you get up the definition of title again?
All right, let me pull that back up.
And there's more. There's more to it.
Yeah, it was pretty long.
But it's relevant.
Yeah, I got you. I'm about to pull it.
Title. Right, because with that title, they have naked possession because they're merely occupying the land.
So I'm at title. What part did you want me to hit?
Just right where we left off.
All right, so let me go back to real property.
They had the evidence of right and all of that. Yeah, after that.
All right, so let me see where I left off. The word title certainly does not merely. I'll just start from the top of this section, just so y'all point of reference.
All right.
Title may be defined generally to be the evidence of right which a person has to the possession of property. The word title certainly does not merely signify the right which a person has to the possession of property, because there are many instances in which a person may have the right to the possession of property, and at the same time have no title to the same. In its ordinary legal exception, however, it generally seems to imply a right of possession also. Talking about that deed that we were talking about before.
Exactly.
It therefore appears on the whole, so it looks like it, on the whole, to signify the outward evidence of the right rather than the mere right itself. Thus, when it is said that the quote-unquote most imperfect degree of title consists in the mere naked possession, that's the phrase you brought up, or actual occupation of an estate, it means that mere circumstance of occupying the estate is the weakest species of evidence of the occupier's right to such possession. And it's got a little bit more, but
now right there. So now if these quote unquote federal come at you, all right,
federal agents,
they try to make some type of claim. You won't have no claim because we already know that you guys been bankrupt. The last bankruptcy is in 33. All right, so why y'all sitting here playing with people? We can go to the Trafficon speech where you been right there on the floor.
And just because of the fact that they're using private commercial paper, that invokes we can invoke Clearfield right there.
There you go.
All right, just making sure I'm clear on the
more ammo. All right.
You know what I mean? But otherwise, without being in your proper person, these foreign mercenaries will classify live persons or natural persons as corporate property.
Right.
Or as